Hi and welcome to today's video, which is all about how you can change your perception in any situation. My name is Faye Cox and I am a mindset and confidence coach, and I help people change the way they think. So as I mentioned, we're talking about different perspectives today. So we all find ourselves in situations where we may disagree with other people. And 9 times out of 10, when we're in these situations, we see things differently. And we see things differently from the other person because of our map of the world, how we see things, those beliefs, our values, and the experiences we've had in our life up until that point. So today I want to give you a quick NLP, neuro-linguistic programming technique that I use in my practice to help you be able to see things from other people's point of view, so you can put yourself in other people's shoes in any situation. So I call this the 3 pillars of perspective. It's something that you can do actually physically. So you can physically do this and practice this technique over and over again before you find yourself in that situation. So to start off with, there are 3 positions in the 3 pillars of perspective. Position 1 is you. That's your position within any given situation or conversation. Second position is the person you may be having that discussion with. So you could be sitting down, it could be at work, it could be something in your personal life, business, any given situation. A lot of the time you will find that this could be a one-on-one conversation and you're unable to see somebody else's point of view. So the third position, you are going to become a neutral participant within this conversation. So you are going to be the person who looks on the situation as a whole from a neutral perspective. So let's get started on how this works. So to begin with, you can set up 3 different chairs in your living room, kitchen, at work, in a conference room, wherever you happen to be. So you can do this by yourself. You can also help your colleagues and employees to do this. So when they're in negotiations and communicating with other members of staff, or they're trying to close a deal, any of those kinds of things, you can do this and you can practice this with them. So to start off with, we sit in the first person's chair. So we sit in the chair of the person whose perspective it is. So it's you. So you are being you to start off with. So at this point, you want to close your eyes and think of a situation that you may have found yourself in very recently, where you're having a conversation and the perspectives have been differently. Think back to the conversation that you were having. Picture exactly what happened, what was said, how you saw it, how you saw that conversation through your own eyes, and sit with that for a moment. Then I want you to do what we call in NLP, which is break that state. So open your eyes again, think of something totally different outside of the conversation. It might be what you're having for dinner, it might be what your next meeting is. So think about something entirely different. And at that point, get yourself up and move over to another chair. And this chair will be the second position. This will be the other person you were having the conversation with. So then when you're ready, sit in that chair, close your eyes, and put yourself in that person's situation. So close your eyes and remember that conversation again and replay the situation clearly from their point of view. So how did they see it? Imagine the situation from that person's point of view. Imagine stepping into their body and becoming them and looking at you through their eyes, through their perspective, and think back to what was said. So what is their understanding of the situation? How do they see you and your actions in this situation? Once you've done that, we break state again. So as I said before, think about something totally different, what it is you might be having for your tea, your meeting, what time do you pick your kids up, anything that it might happen to be. As you're doing that, get up out of that chair. Now move to the third person's chair. Sit down in that chair, and then we are going to become the neutral third person. So then we are now the objective outsider, as we might call them. Now think of this person as somebody that you respect, somebody that you admire, somebody that you trust their point of view and perspective. So they're kind of watching this like a fly on the wall. So they are like a fly on the wall in your conversation. Now it's helpful here to picture yourself, to close your eyes and picture yourself as looking down on the conversation. So we call this like the helicopter view. So you're looking down on the conversation of these two people, these two other perspectives who are having this discussion. And you are looking at something from completely outside and from a neutral perspective. Now I want you to ask yourself these questions in this position. How are these two people acting? Are they being fair to one another? Are they actively listening to what the other person is saying? Is the way that they are behaving or the way that this conversation is going resolving anything or coming up with any plan or solution? Is one person being more dominant than the other? And what advice would you, as that outside perspective, give both of these people to help them work out their differences? Now, once you've done that, break that state again. And this is a really, really great tool to be able to step into other people's shoes to see their perspective, but then step outside of the situation and look in from a completely different perspective. Because 9 times out of 10, that will help you to come up with resolutions, totally different answers to the ones that you were coming up with before when you were only looking at something from your perspective. Being able to find a different perspective in any situation is so incredibly powerful and massively useful in both life, your career, and business, in anything that you, or any situation that you find yourself in. So after this, take a few minutes just to write down those different perspectives, write down what came out of that. What did you learn about yourself having done that? What did you learn about the other person? And how do you want to move forward from here? So like I said, this is a really great, very simple exercise that you can practice either yourself, with family members, with friends, with colleagues, so that you can find conflict resolution, those meetings, negotiations, anything like that, so we can look at not 1, not 2, but 3 different perspectives in one given situation. Thanks for joining me on this video today, and I will see you all again for the next video.